Hey, you guys. Today we're going to be going over multiplying and dividing decimals. Before we get into that, though, fact number 21 about me: I went to the University of Georgia, UGA. It's the best. It's down in Athens, Georgia, which is only an hour and a half, 2 hours from here. Not too far. I had an incredible experience. I graduated in 2018, so not too long ago. And it's so funny. I didn't grow up in Forsyth County, but everyone I met there, it seemed, was from Forsyth County. So I heard about it a lot. It's an incredible school. It's an incredible college. If you go there, there are so many opportunities. You can really do anything you want if you go to that university. It is honestly incredible. So I stand by it. I think you should go there. I think everyone should go there. It's the best. All right. So let's get back to the math. Multiplying and dividing decimals. Now we're going over this again just because we want to make sure everyone's on the same page and that everyone is really comfortable with this material, because these operations can be a little tricky if you're not. So looking at this first problem, let's get the pen going. I got negative 2 times 3.81. First off, I know my answer is going to be negative because I got a negative times a positive. So I know I'm going to have a negative answer. There we go. Actually, let me make that font a little smaller. That's kind of like that. Let's see. Oh, better. Perfect. All right, let's drop this back down. And there we go. All right, let's go through this one. So I know a negative times a positive is going to give me a negative answer. And whenever I do these, I always put the number with the most digits on the top. So I got 1 digit versus 1, 2, 3 digits. All right, that's my winner. 3.81 goes up the top. 2 goes down here. Notice how I don't have to line up the decimals, not with multiplication, only with adding and subtracting. So I'm going to go ahead and start multiplying. 2 times 1 gives me 2. 2 times 8 gives me 16. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Plus 1 is 7. And that's it. Great. Now, the only step where the decimal actually comes in is the end when we're trying to put it in our answer. So the way I figure out where the decimal goes is I'm going to go and look through my problem. I'm going to count all the numbers behind a decimal. I got 1, 2, that 8, and that 1. That's 2 numbers total. I want 2 numbers total behind the decimal in my answer. 2 numbers behind the decimal, 2 numbers behind the decimal. That's what I'm looking for. And it's a negative. There's my answer. Let's look at the next one. Again, I'm going to put the number with the most digits up on the top. That 1972 has way more digits than the other number. I'm going to put it up here. It doesn't matter which number goes on top. You will still get the same answer. But if you put this one on top, you're just going to have a few extra steps to go through. So 19.72 times 4.3. Notice again how the decimals aren't lined up. All I'm really worried about is having them line up over here on the right edge of the problem. 3 times 2 gives me 6. 3 times 7 gives me 21. Carry the 2. 3 times 9 gives me 27 plus 2. That's 29. Carry the 2 again. 3 times 1 gives me 3 plus 2 is 5. And then whenever I move place values, I'm going from this place value where the 3 is in to this place value where the 4 is in. I'm going to put a 0 right here. It's kind of like a placeholder. And now I get to go start multiplying with the 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry the 2. Oh, it's already there. Perfect. 4 times 9 is 36. Plus 2 is 38. Mark out that 2. Make sure that it's a 3. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 3 is 7. And now I get to go and add these up. 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. Carry the 1. 13 plus 1 is 14. Carry the 1. 8. Now, that's a 9. Let me fix that. Better. Now, this is my number. I need to go and figure out where the decimal is going to go. I got 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal in my problem. I want 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal in my answer. And I have a positive times a negative. That's going to give me a negative answer with multiplication. So there we go. Let's look at this one. Let me scroll down a little bit. And there we go. There we go. Perfect. Let's clear that stuff. And let's do number 3. Look at this one. I'm going to put the number with the most digits up at the top. That is this one right here. Oh, let me click back on the pen. Whoops, hang on. There we go. All right. This number has more digits. I'm going to put it up at the top, 0.516 times 1.9. 9 times 6 gives me 54. Carry that 5. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. Carry that 1. Yep, that's right. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 1 is 46. Carry that 4. 9 times 0 is 0 plus 4. And then I'm moving place values, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 right here on that second line. Then I get to go and start. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 0 is 0. I get to add these up. 4 and 0 gives me 4. 4 and 6 gives me 10. Carry the 1. That gives me 7, 8. And that gives me 9. And this is just a 0. So let me go look and see where my decimal is going to go in my answer. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal in the problem. I want 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal in the answer. And this problem is a negative times a positive. That's going to give me a negative answer. That's what I'm looking for right there. Let's look at this last one. This last multiplication problem. I'm going to put the number with the most digits up at the top. That's this one right here. 56.2 times 83. Let's go ahead and start multiplying. 3 times 2 gives me 6. 3 times 6 gives me 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 5 gives me 15 plus 1 is 16. And then I'm moving place values. I'm moving over here to this number. So I'm going to add a 0 to put right there on that second line of multiplication. 8 times 2 gives me 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 1. That's 49. Make this a 4. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 4 is 44. Now I get to go add them up. 6 and 0 gives me 6. 8 and 6 gives me 14. Carry the 1. That's 16. Carry the 1 again. That's 6. And that's 4. Now let's see where the decimal is going to go in this answer. I got one number behind the decimal. That's it. Just one number behind the decimal in the whole problem. That means I just want one number behind the decimal in the answer. Right there. This is a negative times a negative, which is going to keep it positive. There we go. Now let's look at some division. So you have a dividend, first number, and divisor, the second number. The dividend, the first number, always goes inside the box. So I got 45.91. And then this 3 on the outside. Now, I don't have to move the decimal or anything because the divisor, the number on the outside, is already a whole number. I don't have to move the decimal. I can go ahead and start dividing. 3 goes into 4 once. That's 3. Subtract, I get 1. Bring down the 5. That's 15. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract, I get 0. Bring down the 9. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Is 0. Bring down the 1. 3 goes into 1 0 times. 3 times 0 is 0. And now look, I have no more numbers left over here, but I know that I can always add a million zeros over here on the end until I get a number that is a terminating decimal, so I'm going to have a 0 at some point, or a repeating decimal, meaning one of these numbers is going to keep repeating. I'm going to get the same pattern over and over again. So let's bring it down to 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. I get 1. Bring down a 0. Oh, wait, I'm starting to see a pattern. 10 and 10. It looks like this 3 right here is a repeating. This is the repeating part of it, just the 3. Whenever I divide, I can bring the decimal straight up from the box, 15.303, and that 3 is repeating. So, looking at this problem, it's a positive times a negative. I'm going to get a negative answer. So let me write it down here just to be a little clearer. Negative 15.303, and that last 3 is repeating. Let's look at this one over here. So the first number is the dividend. It goes inside the box, 0.925. Second number is the divisor. It goes outside the box, 0.05. Now, the divisor in this case is not a whole number. I need to make it one though. So I'm going to make it a whole number by moving the decimal 1 2 places. And whatever I do on the outside, I have to do on the inside. 1 2 places. Let me write it again just to make it a little easier to read. This new number is now 5. It's a whole number, which makes it way easier for me. And now this number inside is 092.5. So I'm going to go ahead and start dividing. 5 into 0 goes 0. 5 into 9, however, goes once. 5 times 1 is 5. Subtract, I get 4. Bring down the 2. 5 into 42, that goes 8 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract and get 2. Bring down the 5. 5 into 25 goes 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Oh, and I end up with 0. Excellent. That's great. So I'm done. I'm just going to raise the decimal from the box to my answer. So I got a negative divided by a negative. I know it's going to be a positive. So my answer is 18.5. Notice how I leave that first 0 off. There's a million zeros in front of it. I don't have to include any of them. This is just 18.5. Let's look at this one down here. The first number is the dividend. It goes inside the box. 5.846 divided by 6 is the divisor. So I don't have to move anything. This divisor is already a whole number. I'm going to go ahead and start dividing. 6 into 5 goes 0. 6 into 58, that goes 9 times. 6 times 9 is 54. Subtract to get 4. I'm going to bring down this 4. 6 into 44 goes 7 times. 6 times 7 is 42. Subtract, I get 2. Bring down the 6. 6 into 26, that goes 4 times. One second. Make sure I didn't make a mistake on this. Oh, you know what? I guess I did make a little mistake. I wrote 5.84 and the problem says 5.48. The work is still correct. I still do the same exact steps. The answer might be a little off though. If this was 5.846, this is the problem and the answer that I would get. So 6 into 26 goes 4 times. That's 24. I get 2. Oh, there's nothing left. I'm going to bring down a 0. 6 into 20, that goes 3 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Oops, there we go. And now, 6 into, I'm starting to see a pattern. If I bring down another 0, it's like 20 starting all over again. So this 3 right here is a repeating decimal, just the 3 part. I'll bring up the decimal, so my answer is 0.9743. Look at this last one. It is 3.2 inside the box, 0.002 outside the box. Now look, this is not a whole number. I want to make it a whole number though. Let me move it 1, 2, 3 spaces. I'm going to do the same thing inside the box that I did outside. I moved it 3 spaces over there. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 spaces in here. And now if there is nothing here, I add a 0. So let me write the new number. 2 and 2, 3,200. That is my new problem. So I got 2 into 3, that goes once. That's 2. Subtract and get 1. I'll bring down this 2. 2 into 12 goes 6 times. 2 times 6 is 12. I get 0. Now look, a lot of kids think they would be done, but these zeros are in front of the decimal. That's where I moved it. I moved it right there. That's where I moved the decimal to. This number is now 3,200. I have to include those zeros. I'll bring down the 0. 2 into 0 goes 0. 2 times 0 is 0, 0. I get 0. I got to bring down another 0 because it's in front of the decimal. 2 into 0 goes, of course, 0. 2 times 0 is 0, and I end up with 0. Perfect. And now I have no more numbers left. I'm going to bring up the decimal and put it right at the end of my number. Let me write it over here so it's a little clearer to see. I get 1,600 as my answer. Well, that was a lot. But you guys, thanks for sticking around for the whole video, and I'll see you in class.